Karina here from GameDev Cafe. Hope everyone's doing well. Sorry that our stream is a little bit late tonight. We do want to do some early streams. We asked on our Twitter channel at the GameDev Cafe what time you guys might want to see some streaming, and I know Friday afternoons work really well. So we'll be back. But for tonight, as you can probably see up here, we're looking at some of the games from the Toronto Game Jam. This year was the 12th annual Game Jam. It's something that I've taken part in for a couple years now with Lightning Rod Games, which is the studio that helps run the GameDev Cafe. And today we're just going to check out some of the games that came out of the 12th annual Jam. Some of these were recommended to us, others we just sort of found on our own. But I think before we even begin, we need to give a little bit of a shout out to the sort of awesome artwork that went into the Toronto Game Jam. We have a lot of stuff up on our Instagram if you want to check out the posters and some photos from the jam. We're going to put up some shots of like the candy stand, all kinds of good stuff. So you can visit us at GameDev Cafe on Instagram, or just head to GameDevCafe.com and we'll have tonight's roundup and all of our photos and everything one place for you. So without further ado, I wanted to, I guess, start by introducing the game that you're actually listening to right now, which is Jelly Jelly from Butterbrains. I'm not exactly sure if Butterbrains is a studio or a group, but the aesthetic was really cool, and it was one of the games that we saw being made during the Game Jam, so we really liked some of the artwork that was going into it, and now that it's all sort of put together, it's actually really cool. Now, before I start, I will say that we tried a lot of different games. We actually felt that there was a lot of games that we, sort of wanted to highlight for different reasons. We either liked the art or maybe we liked something else about it, but unfortunately, the game just didn't really play well. So, because of that, sometimes that's how it goes at a Game Jam. I know the Lightning Rod Games team didn't even really finish the game that we intended on making. Instead, we sort of played around with animation and rigging, and really just a character that we were sort of happy with. So that happens all the time at Game Jams. You don't always get the finished product that you envisioned. So there's a lot of games that we did try and that were recommended to us, but for whatever reason they didn't really play smoothly, or maybe they just need a little bit more work. So we didn't want to look at too many of those tonight. It's not sort of a struggle reel, but these were some of the games that we really liked. So Jelly Jelly is this cute little video game. Let's get into the window here, where you basically direct a jellyfish around, and I really like how everything is sort of underwater, so there's this constant flow. You can sort of see you sort of glide a little bit even when you stop moving, and everything just feels like you're underwater. It's got a really cool sense. Now the sound effects are great. The sound is obviously pretty cool. But I think, the aesthetic is sort of what stood out to me. This cool, like, clay look. And I'm not sure how much time and effort went into animating this. So for the team that made it, we will try to talk to some of these teams down the road. As you know, we probably, should ask them a couple questions about how it was made and exactly what their intentions were. Tonight I'm just giving you my opinion. Oh, I died. Even the death sound is kind of a good squish. But yeah, we do interview a lot of different game devs at the Game Dev Cafe, so if you guys are interested in talking to us about a game that you've made, or of course if we're playing one of your games on our stream and you want to talk to us about how you did it, or sort of what you were trying to do, especially in the case of a jam game, we'd love to talk to you. So feel free to hit us up, but at GameDevCafe.com you can see a lot of other interviews. Now, for a jam game, you can see that there's not that much of a world to explore here, the background scrolling, but I do really like the feel, and I think that the sort of the motor function of the jellyfish is what they got really right, besides, the cool artwork. Let's check this out a little bit. Now, I should probably do myself a favor and find out who made this music, because it is kind of cool and it goes really well with the game. Sort of reminds me of Donkey Kong Country, the underwater levels, if you guys remember. And even when you're sort of banned from doing something, it doesn't feel too bad. So I'm gonna pause this game for a second. And just really quickly, since we're on their channel, we'll quickly look at other games that they might have. Relapse is another game that they've made. Oh, urchins. That's what those things were. Angry urchins. Okay, so there you have it. Just gonna double check something on our stream here. I guess it's worth noting too, if you guys participated in the Game Jam and we're not looking at your game tonight and you would like us to, just hit us up on Twitter. We'll make sure to get around to it. So the next game that we're going to take a look at, give me one sec here, I'll open it up. Alrighty. Oh, and I guess that's worth noting too, we're setting up a Shopify store for GameDev Cafe, so if you guys are not totally familiar with what we do, it's something that you'll be able to check out fairly soon. Now give me one moment to open up another one of the games. This one was actually really, really cute. You can see I'm kind of winging this whole windowed setup here. Trying to make sure that basically we can see all the games really clearly. This one looks like I'm playing it in a bit of a shrunken windowed view, so one sec, I'm going to try relaunching that. Because I feel like we should be able to see the entire game. Alright, let's try that again, one sec. You guys can see how messy this is. Don't look. Don't look. Alright. Huh. So I'm going to try to run this at a little bit of a bigger view. Maybe that'll help. Alright, so I think this might be the easiest way to look at this game, even though it's a little bit shrunken in the window. But I want to zoom in and I want to have the ability to walk you guys through it. So this is from Reptoy Games. We were actually involved in the Ubisoft Indie series with them this year, so we'll hopefully talk to them a little bit later on GameDev Cafe. But for now, I thought this was one of the games that really nicely showed off the theme of this year's Toronto Game Jam, which was basically prepare for disappointment. It was a great theme to have for a game jam because, well, if everything goes really, really wrong with your game, you can always pretend like it was intentional, I guess. But this game, again, has really cool music. I really like the sound and the aesthetic. And it's called The Peak, so the assumption that I'm making is that you're supposed to be ascending or climbing or trying to get somewhere, but you go really slow. Oh, look. So not only does this game sort of encapsulate the theme, but it also included sort of the mascot or the totem icon of Toronto Game Jam, this goat. It's actually a goat on a pole. I think we'll see it in one of the other games we're going to play. But something that you're supposed to try and incorporate into the game. So it shows up in really weird and random places when you're looking at games from TOjam. A lot of which are on itch.io, by the way. So if you guys are looking to play some of these, certainly all the ones that we're playing tonight are available. A few of them are pay-what-you-can games, so consider tossing something to the developers if you're giving them a try, especially since we're giving you a little taste tonight. Now, in terms of how these are made, I mean, honestly, there's a lot of different engines, but most of the game pages do give that information. Again, when we sit down and talk to some of the devs that made these games, hopefully, we'll ask them a little bit more about how they were made and what tools they used, and if there were any sort of tips or tricks or shortcuts, because I think, aside from, you know, the time crunch at a game jam, that's one of the reasons that people are sort of forced to think creatively. You know, you're not only dealing with a small amount of time, but you feasibly can't make the game that you probably want to, so you have to find a way to be a little bit more conservative, I guess, in your ambitions, and also, you know, just clever in general in the way that you lay out the game. Looks like a page from a journal. How do I... Oh, here we go. Oh, interesting. See, that's cool. I didn't know this game had any kind of story to it. That's the other neat thing about Game Jam games, is you sort of don't know too much about them going into them. Sometimes there's an instruction sheet, but that's about it. Oh, I guess I can't go into the tent? Okay, well, I can go into the tent, but there's nothing really to see there. Interesting. Really like the snow effect. Now, this is a game that feels like it could have taken a while to make. Simple conception, nice artistic style, and I guess, you know, again, sort of a fairly straightforward gameplay. So you don't have to worry too much about fighting or reaction time or anything like that. You're really just climbing up a mountain. Very cute. Now, I think Reptoid's other game is about archaeology or exploration. We'll have to follow up on that, but actually feels surprisingly good to climb up this mountain and fall face first in the snow. Alright. So we'll take a little bit more of a tour around here. Oh, I see something glowing up there. Alright, let's try to get up there. Blip there, but that's okay. I do really like this music. I could listen to this all day. Nice choice. Game Jammers. Alright. So, if you can't already tell, you move very slowly in this game. And I noticed that a few games at the Game Jam incorporated slower movement to help simplify what was actually going on. This is inspired by that, you know, that classic story with the guy who falls off the mountain. Oh no. I don't know why it's like totally escaping me right now. Let's see. Okay, well, for whatever reason, it's totally escaping me, but there's some classic piece of literature about people climbing a mountain and one of his friends dies or something. This definitely reminds me of something like that, where people have been lost or separated and they're searching for each other on the mountain. I'm not sure what this is. I thought it was like a cave or something. Alright, so I think, you know, we sort of get an idea of this Game Jam game. Oh, I can zoom in. I didn't realize that. Sort of playing with the controls. I am impressed that so many games are available for both Mac and PC, so people had time to do a couple builds and possibly test them. And also that they had controller input, so you know, that's kind of nice. I like using keyboards, but there are some games where it just makes more sense to use something else. So I'm actually going to cut the music for a second. Sorry if it's a little jarring. But I want to load up another game for us here. I guess while I'm doing that, it's worth noting that this game jam takes place at George Brown College every year. They have a pretty great program for all things technology, media, digital entertainment. There's a ton of sponsors too. I won't list them all here, but in our follow-up blog post we'll talk about who sponsors the Toronto Game Jam. It's actually a huge event. It's really exciting to go to, and if you ever have a chance to participate, it is in Toronto, but there's a lot of people who come from all over the place. There was actually one developer, Jared, this year, who came all the way from Cleveland, which was kind of exciting. So it's becoming, I think, more of a certainly not a local game jam, but much more of a community-driven event for people outside of the borders of Ontario. And of course, we're Canadian, so we'll, you know, gladly welcome anybody in who wants to come by. So the next game I'm going to look at, I'm just grabbing the link here because I unfortunately closed it by accident. It's called Crime and Punishment. So let me just pop it into this window. Awesome. So Burnout is the name of this developer or dev team, which is great, but it's Megan Byrne basically made it. Now I know that, oh, you can see actually here on the screen. So the music was contributed, but I'm pretty sure that the rest was actually made by Megan herself. There's a lot of individual jammers this year, which really impressed me. A lot of people trying to make a game by themselves for the first time, which is something that I would like to try and do in the near future, so if I do that, I'll chronicle it and you can all laugh along with me as I try and fail, I'm sure. But it's neat to see so many games being made by either small teams or individuals. It definitely proves that you can do it. And this is just in the span of, 3 days, not a very long time at all. So this game was kind of interesting. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't read anything about it. I know there's a big description down there at the bottom that you can probably see. I guess we'll read it together maybe just because why not. But help Raskolnikov go down his journey of megalomaniacal insanity as he murders a pawnbroker. Good times. In this section, the player must keep Semyon awake as he tells Raskolnikov about how he ruined his family's life. Make sure Semyon, I hope I'm saying this right, does not fall asleep, or Raskolnikov will change his mind about the murder. You must feed him enough alcohol before the timer runs out and he falls asleep. There you have it. So I started playing this and it's kind of interesting. A lot of it is tapping, but the artwork is kind of what stood out to me. So I'll let you guys have a look and judge for yourselves. Actually failed this the first time. Oh no! Oh good, this time I got it. I did not have time to read that. Okay, well we know that we have to keep somebody drinking, right? We're not supposed to let him fall asleep. We're supposed to make him keep drinking. Is this like all the game is? I mean, it is prepare for disappointment theme. Okay. So this is the same as the last time. I still didn't have time to read it. Okay. We'll do this one more time. This might be all there is to this. Okay. Well, I'm confused. I don't know if I'm disappointed. I can't be. That's the beauty of having that as your theme, right? Yeah. I'll try this one more time, just in case I'm not making him drink enough, right? I don't know if you guys are noticing that the clock countdown is cutting me off, so when I get to a certain point, it's actually not letting me get further. Alright, TOjam, you win this round. Let's see, more information. See if there's anything else about this game that I should be reading. Dostoevsky. So, I'm an English major. I've read a few Dostoevsky novels, but they're all kind of the same. They all kind of feel like this, where there's people in like an impossible situation that they can't really escape. It's very dire, and they drink a lot. So, there's another game. Let's see. The next one I'm going to pull up is actually on my computer. So give me 1 second here. And maybe while we're doing that, I'll just jump back to the TOjam page so that you guys can look at some of the other games that were put up here. So there's 94 games submitted. That's pretty good. Browser playable. I actually didn't look at like these in any particular order when I was picking games to try. I sort of browsed a whole bunch all week and then just picked the ones that stuck out to me. But let's see. Maybe I should check out one of these just randomly. What looks good? I don't know if anyone's on the chat to let me know what looks good to them. But that's okay. We'll put this up on YouTube as well. So you have Crime and Punishment, which is a great novel if you haven't read it, by the way. That's who I'm talking about when I say Dostoevsky. Tales from the Crypt Keeper is another example of a game that somebody made all by themselves. It's Gabby from Laundry Bear Games. She was working, I don't think completely by herself. I think Andrew Carvalho might have been helping her, but sort of, again, like a game made by someone who was playing around with some tools they'd never used before, which is kind of impressive. So let's see. If you're not familiar with Minesweeper, it's sort of like, you know, a game where you just have to uncover squares and you're trying not to hit some kind of mine, or in this case, ghost, that's hidden there. So it's very clever, Tales from the Crypt Sweeper, which reminds me that Tales from the Crypt Keeper is being, or Tales from the Crypt, I should say, is being redone by M. Night Shyamalan. And probably won't be great, but we can save that for another stream and another argument. So, anyways, I'll go back real quickly to this page just so you guys can sort of take a look at some of the games while I am pulling up the next one that I want to show you here. And, you know, I think I did mention, but there's a lot of games that are well worth checking out that for whatever reason I just didn't have time to see, or maybe they are for Mac and I just happen to be streaming on my PC tonight instead. But certainly there's lots of things to check out that I'm not showing you tonight. Let's see. I think the next one we'll do something a little bit fun. So this one's called Recipe GIF, the game. I will pull it over here. Woo. Okay, I like the music, but I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. You can probably see the goat on the pole waving around there. So just give me 1 second. I'll get rid of some of that. You guys can look at my stock background on my new computer. We're not advertising for them in any way here. I just happen to have gotten a new computer recently and I haven't changed it. So, Recipe GIF the game. Fairly straightforward. All you're doing is building nachos. And you basically get the wrong item and you have points deducted. You get the right item and you have points added. That's really it. And you're trying to do it quickly. Now, the idea is to play this on your mobile device, obviously, which I am not doing. I'm dragging and clicking, which is nowhere near as fun as swiping. But the motive here is just to move as quickly as possible. The reason I'm showing it to you is that I know the team that made it did it in a very short amount of time, as everyone did at the Jam, but it works pretty well. The music is kind of fun, and they were really excited about the fact that they had fish heads in here, which I thought was kind of really funny. Like that, see? Fish heads on nachos, that is pretty funny. Let's see. Although I do question some of their other toppings. Pepperoni? Like, who puts pepperoni on nachos? That's crazy. The other neat thing is at the end, they sort of give you this weird rating system that seems to be linked to popular nacho articles found from the web. I'm not really sure, but yeah, that's Recipe Gift the Game. So there's another fun short one. Let's see, what shall we look at next? I've kind of got that song in my head. So this one is called Eschar Golf, like escargot, but Eschar Golf. Get it? I really liked a lot of things about this game, but the music is really cute. I'm part French in my background, so I think maybe that's why it appeals to me. And who doesn't like throwing snails around? I'm not sure how they chose to do these sound effects, but they're quite cute. So we have an adorable snail, we have a launch trajectory, and we just let her rip. So it gives you a lot of prompts that are really encouraging. It also has great squishy noises, which is probably my favorite thing about this game. And you can stick to things, so there's a lot of unexpectedness, at least when you're initially playing it. Now, I didn't spend a lot of time with this game yet, so I don't actually know how far it can go. Oh, darn it. I do know, however, that I can get it over this wall, so let me just give this a try. Actually did this much more easily before. So let's see here. Part of the problem is that I'm not able to actually pull my cursor back very far. Okay. Come on, snail. I'm trying to like reposition my window so I can actually get more of a launch. Let's see here. So I know that this isn't the disappointing part. I know I can get up there. Maybe if I back up just a little bit. Alright. I'm gonna come back to this one, because I feel like maybe the window settings are off, and that's why I'm having so much trouble making it work. Okay, so that's Eschar Golf. Well, I guess it is kind of like golf, because, you know, if you played any of the old, like really old, like in television or Atari or something, those golf games, that's sort of how you pulled back and swung your club. So I get that. I get it. It's good. Okay, let's see what else do we have here. So there's a couple really cute two-player games that I wanted to, I guess, just sort of give a shout out to in a way. Unfortunately, I don't have another person here to play with tonight, but we will eventually come back to these games, hopefully with the dev. So this one's kind of cute. Tanks for the Memories. It's basically in my list for tonight because the tanks look like little Tachikomas from Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. So you have this little tiny tank, and it kind of moves like a spider with 4 legs. And you get a trajectory, just like that old missile game, which was awesome. And you can fire little things, little missiles that make cute little explosions. And it looks like you're basically supposed to fight the other person, so I'm just going to kill this other guy right now. Walk a little bit closer. So when we're done our broadcast, we will post this video with links to all these games, as well as mentions of the people who actually made them, all the details that you might care about. But for now, I'm just going to keep exploring a couple more while I have you guys on the feed. I guess it's worth mentioning that if you are watching right now, then feel free to chime in. I just saw someone make a comment. Let's Barf Words can be played by viewers in the stream. Ooh, need at least 3. So I guess, actually, that's a game that we should look at when we talk about one of the other initiatives that we saw done with Twitch recently, which was Kit Fox did a Twitch canvas, a live canvas, where it allowed people to create things artistically by contributing through Twitch chat. Now, there's probably going to be a lot of Twitch-based games in the future, so it's something that we're really interested in. So it sounds like Let's Barf Words, great name, great title, is another one. Thanks for letting me know that. Again, if there's any others that you want us to give a try, just shout them out in our chat here, or you can hit us up at the GameDev Cafe on Twitter. I'm just going to fire a few more missiles because this is fun. I just noticed that down at the bottom of the screen, I don't think you guys can see this because of how I have it positioned, but it does say for educational use only. You see that? Like right at the very bottom in fine print. So this game is for educational use only. Good to know. Alright, cool. So give that a rest because I want to keep zipping along. Ooh, another golf game. Gelf. Like that. Looks like we might have to do another TOjam stream because I'm getting a lot of suggestions through email and Twitter and Twitch right now of games that we need to check out that I obviously didn't have time to because there was 90 some odd games, so we only are looking at a very few tonight. So let's keep going. Let's see. Eschar Golf. What else? So I'm going to try this Eschar Golf one again. See if I can maybe fix the window size so that we can actually play it properly. That should be much better. And then we'll get the French music back again, so. There we go. So I should have mentioned before, this is Angry Squid Games. The music is from Mike Romaniak. So I like the music, but I like the sound effects even better, Mike. Nice job. Okay. Oh, I didn't even see the par and shots before. I don't know how I missed that, but okay, cool. Let's make sure this is positioned nicely. All right, let's do this. See how far I can go now? Woo! Yeah! Okay. Oh no! through it. Alright. Through what? Just jump through it. Ah, look at that. Okay, that sounds a little terrifying, but I do love how he can get up on top of the leaves. Oh, it's so cute. Uh-oh. Aim for under par. Okay, well, I'm already more than double par. There was a goat. Hey, did you see the goat? Everyone see the goat? Okay, cool. You know, this is actually really clever. Now that I see the par and the number of shots, I understand why it's called Eschar Golf. Makes sense. Oh, jump through the leaf. So sorry for jumping around a little bit. I am playing Eschar Golf. I was just playing. What was I just playing? That's not good. I think Tanks for the Memories. Tanks for the Memories. Yeah, that's what I was just playing. Like I said, I will put up a list of all the games that we looked at tonight, as well as links to them and some information about who made them, just so that credit is given where it's due. Because some of these games are really cool. Again, these were all made at Toronto Game Jam over the course of a weekend, so about 3 days. And yeah, we're just looking at some of the games that I saw that stood out, but definitely not an extensive list of great games. There's many, many more that you should check out. Whew. Excuse me. Wall jump to the leaf. Ooh, tricky. Oof, okay, I guess I gotta be quicker. Yeah, I thought the tank game was interesting. It's not any good by yourself. I know, obviously, there's not a lot of time to do... Ah, there we go. To do, you know, AI enemies at a game jam. So that's something that could be added later. But definitely something that I would like to see from some of these... Ah, darn it. Something like I'd like to see added from some of these multiplayer games. I will say that making a multiplayer game at a jam makes a lot of sense because there's lots of people there and it's more fun. So don't blame the devs for doing it that way. Haha, I made it. Oh my god, look at that. Par 11, shots 20. That's so bad. Okay. Ah, that leaf is about to give. I'll fall down eventually. Okay. I know on one level, or on the first level, when I was first playing, I fell into a water trap or something, and I just died. I guess snails don't like water. Oh, I see what it's trying to tell me. I can only stick for so long. Ah, snail parkour. Hardcore snail parkour. Oops. Ah, it is like parkour. That's so clever. I really like how the goat on a pole is your flagpole, too. What a clever little game. Alright, so let's try a little bit more of this. Done randomly, that would be great if you want to just post a link in the chat. Totally allowed. You can put it up there, no problem. If you'd rather send it to us on Twitter, that's cool too. We're at the GameDev Cafe. I'm happy to take a look, and yeah, like I said, I think we might have to do another stream featuring some Game Jam stuff. TOjam's the first jam that I ever took part in, so it's kind of important to me. And oh no, water hazard. Meep, meep. Anyways, the jam's like really fun. It's something that, you know, I've been at for a couple years, and I would love to make sure that, you know, if people made something awesome, that we get a chance to play it. Smaller sinks faster. Okay. Oh no! Even the way that these are like pots turned upside down in a garden. Very clever little game. Ooh, thanks, done randomly. Yes, and this is definitely a game that we will probably want to talk to the devs about. I wonder if this is being turned into something a little bit bigger, because it's pretty cool. Womp womp womp. Anyways, I'm going to very quickly bring back that window that I just closed. Oops, my bad. And I guess while I'm doing this, I will say that there's a few games that we downloaded that are Mac only, which kind of surprised me. I don't know, I'm not used to people making games that are Mac focused, I guess. So what we will try to do is get on to my Mac next time and stream from there. We can look at some other games, and in the meantime, like I said, if there are any other Game Jam games that we have missed or that we should be making sure that we cover, do let us know. Toronto Game Jam. Alright, and this is what I was going to show you guys just before we sign off. So this is the website for Toronto Game Jam, and I definitely think that, if you're in the Toronto area and you're not familiar with this, I just wanted to make sure that you have a chance to see it. The team that runs it is, I think, pretty much all volunteers. I know there's sponsorships involved, but that's just to make sure the event can happen. It includes, obviously accommodations, quote unquote, at George Brown College all weekend, so it takes a lot of manpower to keep that up and running. They do a candy station every night, which is really fun. They do Chinese food buffet over the weekend. There's great team photos that go up. If you if you look around on the internet, there's some really funny photos that actually come out of the Game Jam. Our studio used it as our team photo. But it happens every year in the spring, so this was the 12th annual. I can only assume that they'll come back for 13th, and usually number 13 is kind of special and should be really good. So again, the games this year were themed around the theme of disappointment, or preparing for disappointment, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I think it's generally been a pretty successfully run jam. It always has a lot of interest, and a lot of good comes out of it in terms of quality games and even just fun experimental games that may not be top quality, but definitely have something unique or different to them. Thanks for tuning into the stream, guys. I will probably be back a little bit later tonight to stream some Nier Automata, so if you're around, maybe tune in late. And otherwise, let's come back tomorrow night, and we will try to look at some games from Toronto Game Jam that are made for Mac, and also some of the games that were recommended tonight while we were doing the stream, because honestly, I didn't have a chance to read all your messages while I was doing this. We'll put this up on YouTube in the meantime, and yeah, if you have any other suggestions for us, feel free to hit us up at the GameDev Cafe on Twitter. Check out GameDevCafe.com for lots of interviews and insight around the gaming community. My name's Karina, and I hope to see you again tomorrow night. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.